Hi, Brian here with DIY Outdoor Life. Today we're going to be talking about the perfect way to attach our camper to our tow vehicle. This video is going to have two chapters that you can pan back and forth between in the playback feature below. The first one's going to be about setting up our tow vehicle, making sure we have the capability and most importantly, the proper drawbar height so that our camper rides level. The second one is going to be the checklist for how I attach my camper every time I use it. So let's check it out. To start, every RV owner needs to know the dry weight and the tongue weight of the camper that they own. The dry weight has to do with how much your camper weighed when it was brand new. The tongue weight has to do with the amount of weight that's applied to the hitch of your tow vehicle. You can find these numbers in your owner's manual, you can look it up on Google, or you can call your dealer. Sometimes it's difficult to get these numbers from the sticker on the side of our camper. Now that we understand the weight of the trailer, we could better understand the capability of our tow vehicle. Every tow vehicle is going to have a capability for towing as well as a tongue weight capability. We need to make sure that these numbers are in excess of the trailer that we are towing. The closer these numbers get together, the more trouble we're going to have on mountains, both going up and coming down, as well as wear and tear on our tow vehicle. Now we can find these numbers the same way that we found them on the trailer. Google search, calling the dealer, or your owner's manual. The next thing we need to understand is the hitch receiver that's attached to our tow vehicle. Now, these hitch receivers are typically located under the bumper. Occasionally you find them in the bumper behind a little plastic door. Now, they're going to have an insert that's going to be able to receive a drawbar. Now, these hitch receivers come with capabilities of their own. Now, this isn't as important, but what you want to do is make sure that this is matched to the tow vehicle. Now, a Class 1 receiver is capable of 200 pounds of tongue weight or 2,000 pounds of towing weight. That's more than capable to handle my teardrop camper. But in this case, we're going with a Class 3 because that matches the towing capabilities of the tow vehicle. That way, if we want to use it for something else or sell the vehicle, there's not a dangerous situation back here that someone else has to discover. We can find these ratings. They'll be listed on the hitch receiver, or you could bring it to a mechanic and they'll be able to tell within 30 seconds. A Class 1 and a Class 2 receiver are going to have an 1.25 inch opening to receive a drawbar. The Class 3 and 4 is going to have the 2-inch opening. So it's fine to have either. We're just going to need the proper size drawbar to fit into the receiver hitch that we have. Now, before we get into the fun part of leveling our trailer, just a quick word about electric. Your trailer is either going to come with a round 7-pin or a flat 4-pin like this. If your trailer has a flat 4-pin, it's going to be able to control your brake lights and turn signals. If it has a round 7, it's going to give you the additional feature of powering your brakes as well as charging the batteries on your camper. If your trailer has a flat 4 like this one, chances are you have a receptacle to plug it in. If you only have a round receptacle, it's fine to use one of these adapters to be able to convert it. Either way, you're going to be able to get the functionality of your tail lights using this flat 4. In the event that you're using the round pin plug and require battery charging and brakes, you need to first ensure that you have the proper size receptacle on your tow vehicle. You also need to make sure that it's equipped with a brake controller. My tow vehicle came with this plug, but it did not have a brake controller installed. You can do one of these yourself or have a mechanic or dealership do these for you, but it is required to both activate the brakes as well as adjust them for different settings.
Now, just as a quick post-edit addition here, I'm also not a huge fan of the wireless brake controllers. The best way to find one of these is to look beside the road or in a campground. It's so common that they fall out or that we end up losing these. So even if it costs a little bit more money, I do recommend that we have a brake controller hardwired into our tow vehicle.
Okay, now for the fun part. One of the most essential things to attaching our camper to our tow vehicle is that our camper rides level. Now, throw me a comment in the link below. Every experienced RVer has these stories. It seems like 1 out of every 3 rigs we see on the road are riding high or riding low. This is going to mess up the geometry of the engineering that went into this. It's gonna tip the trailer out of balance, affect the tongue weight, and it's what causes your trailer to fishtail. It's really, really important that we get this step right. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put a level under my camper and ensure that my camper is set up free of the tow vehicle, perfectly level. From here, I'm going to check the onboard leveling stickers. Now, if they're off here, I'm going to adjust them or replace them, but I always start with a level on the frame. Now, to do this job effectively, you have to make sure that you're parked on level ground. Now, where I come from, there's not much level ground around. So you might want to double check this in a parking lot or someplace that you can get access to a good level section to work on. So once the ground is level and my camper is level, I'm going to take a measurement from the ground to the top of my receiver. And you could see that I'm about 20 inches. I'm not measuring to the top of the locking mechanism, and you don't have to be exact. So 20 inches is the number I'm looking for. Next, I'm going to come over here and see where my measurement comes out on my tow vehicle. In this case, 20 inches is considerably higher than the height of my receiver hitch. Now I know that I'm going to require a riser. In some cases, you might be lower, you might be level, but you have to start first to see where your number comes out. Now we're going to bounce back to the camper for a minute. I want you to select the proper size ball for this job. Now this camper requires a 2-inch ball. If I tried to use a bigger one, it wouldn't fit. The dangerous problem is that 1 7/8 inches is a common size and will fit. You might be miles down the road before you find out that you have the wrong size ball. So in this case, I'm going to match the 2-inch ball with the 2-inch number that's on my trailer. This is going to allow this to fit properly into the drawbar and attach to my camper safely. Now, when establishing the proper height of the drawbar, we took our early measurement that had me about 5 inches higher than the center of the receiver. What I want you to realize here is that the ball itself is going to add about 2.5 inches. So you have plenty of different devices here to figure this out. We can drop down if we had to. We can come up if we had to. And most of the time, these are fully reversible without losing their capability. You can read the sticker on the side to see what the capabilities of these are, but these drop downs and risers are a reversible component. I will say that once you put this on here, chances are it's going to stay there. Anytime you try to back one of these off with the lock washers, you end up stripping things or mangling it pretty good. Now in my case, using a 3¼ inch riser or the drop bar turned upside down comes out at exactly 20 inches. This is where I want to be. Now, it's fine to be a little on or a little off here. I want you to remember that your tow vehicle is going to depress slightly under the weight of your trailer and any gear that you're carrying. But it's always better to be a little low than a little high. When you get just 1 inch or 2 high with your hitch, your trailer is going to start to fishtail. But obviously the best is to try to head it right on. Now, if this is intimidating to you, I'm going to include a link in the description to the Curt adjustable hitch. It does cost more money, but it gives you the capability of dialing this in and adjusting it. Or maybe you have 2 different travel trailers that you like to use. In that case, it's an excellent investment to go with the adjustable hitch. In fact, if you're going to pick your camper up, sometimes it's cheaper to buy that adjustable hitch than it is to pay for your mechanic to do this simple job for you. So this is where we're going to conclude chapter 1. You're good to go now. Your tow vehicle is hooked up to connect to your camper, and it can stay this way for the life of these 2 vehicles. If you don't change one of the 2 vehicles, you don't have to change the setup that we have. So when it comes time to hook our camper up to our tow vehicle, there's a couple simple steps that can help you do this safely and effectively. The first is making sure that we jack the tongue up on our trailer so that it's higher than the receiver ball. Now we can do this by bringing it up and just making sure that we have the clearance, but a lot of times you'll see people just use their leg and just kind of see the height of these. So I'm going to want to pick this up a little bit more. Now the next step is backing our tow vehicle up so that we're underneath the opening here on our trailer. Now my biggest advice for you on this one is to just be kind. You know, it's easier with a backup camera, but me and my girlfriend always snicker at the people in the campgrounds getting in fights over this. It's difficult for both people, so just kind of be playful with it. You just want the ball from your tow vehicle to end up underneath the coupler on your camper. So if you can see the alignment here, I prefer to be just a little bit further ahead with the tow vehicle. This is going to allow the ball to drop on and pull, and it stays out of the way of the locking mechanism. If you're doing this by yourself, you're going to learn that it can be frustrating at first and that you just have to practice. But what I'm going to do now is make sure that my locking mechanism is pulled up. I can pull this pin out and drop the camper down onto the ball. Now that the jack is securely off the ground, whether you either have a sand pad or a wheel, we can try to lock our coupler. In this case, it went in like a breeze because we were aligned properly. It doesn't always look this way, and I see people banging on this thing with a hammer. Sometimes it takes a little practice. With these teardrops, a good push is usually enough. Once this is secure, if you can come in, I'm going to try to show you. I want to make sure that these ears have dropped down into their holes. If this is just up just the slightest bit, it is not making a secure lock. Now, if you're a beginner at this, it's not a bad idea to peek up underneath and see that the locking mechanism has securely come around the ball. But if this is all the way down, you're in good shape. Next, I'm going to secure the locking pin. It slides through the locking mechanism on the coupler and latches over like so. You definitely want to use one of these, whether it's a cotter pin style or anything. You definitely want some security that this latch is no longer going to be able to be lifted. The next part of this job is securing the safety chains to your tow vehicle. Now, the proper way to do this is to cross these and form a slight basket. Now this basket formed underneath gives you just enough room so that if something were to happen, these safety chains are going to keep your vehicle, your trailer, attached to your tow vehicle. This small basket is important. If it's too long, they drag on the ground and you can wear them out. If it's too tight, you're going to run into a situation where if you're turning sharply, these are actually tugging. So we really want to get just a gradual basket here. One trick to shorten these chains, if the basket's too long, is to actually take the chain off and twist it. With a few twists, you could see how much shorter it made one of the chains. Next, we're going to bring our jack all the way up. And if you have a wheel attachment like I do, now's the time to remove it and store it away. If you have a smaller profile like sand pad, it's fine to leave that during transport. Next step is connecting our electrical. If you have a 7-pin round plug, you're going to be able to lift the receptacle underneath and plug it in. Now this cap, if you can see it, actually locks the plug from falling out. I'm going to draw this cord back in and we're almost ready to go. The next step of this process is properly aligning your breakaway controller. If your trailer has brakes, there's going to be a cable that can pull loose. In the event that your trailer comes detached from your vehicle, your tow chains are going to catch it and your brakes are going to be activated. It's essential that this is installed properly for this feature to work. Now, I don't know how well we're going to be able to photograph this, but basically we want this cable to make a pretty direct path to the tow vehicle. If it's too tight, it can get pulled out and inadvertently lock the brakes up on your trailer. If it's too loose, it's not going to work in an emergency. So you might have to shorten or lengthen your cable, or in some cases, when they provide you with a lot of extra, you can pass it through your tow hooks and you'll have enough length to bring it back and attach it to your trailer. This all depends on what the manufacturer provided you with. I use a carabiner and attach it in the same place I attach my tow chains. Now, whether you're coming from the first section or the second section of this video, I hope you enjoyed the fast, simple ways that we can connect our camper to our tow vehicle safely. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, swing over to the video on my channel about inspection. We need to be able to do a fast and thorough inspection of our rig every time we couple it to our tow vehicle. Now, as always, please take a moment to hit a like, subscribe to the channel. This is the only thing that supports channels like this, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a good day.